In November 2022, $8 billion simply disappeared. Not slowly, not quietly. In 72 hours, one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world collapsed completely. Millions of customers logged in to find their money was gone. The man responsible was a 30-year-old with uncombed hair who slept on a beanbag in his office and told the world he was going to save it. His name was Sam Bankman-Fried. And what he built was not a crypto exchange. It was the most sophisticated financial fraud in modern history. In the next 8 minutes, you will understand exactly how he did it, why nobody stopped him, and the financial lessons that could protect you from the next Sam Bankman-Fried. To understand FTX, you need to understand the world it was born in. 2020. The pandemic hit. Governments printed trillions of dollars. Interest rates dropped to zero. Money was cheap and abundant, and cryptocurrency was exploding. Bitcoin hit $60,000. Ethereum was soaring. New coins were launching every day, and ordinary people were becoming millionaires overnight. Into this environment walked Sam Bankman-Fried, a young MIT graduate who had already made hundreds of millions trading crypto through his firm, Alameda Research. He was brilliant. He was eccentric. He lived in a luxury penthouse in the Bahamas with 10 colleagues in what he called a poly-cool. He drove a Toyota Corolla despite being worth billions. He played video games during investor meetings, and everyone loved him for it because he told a story that the financial world desperately wanted to believe. Crypto could be legitimate. Crypto could be regulated. Crypto could save the world. And Sam Bankman-Fried was the man to make it happen. FTX launched in 2019 and grew faster than almost any financial company in history. By 2021, it was processing billions in daily transactions. It had partnerships with major sports teams. The Miami Heat Arena was renamed the FTX Arena. Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen became brand ambassadors. Stephen Curry, Shaquille O'Neal, Larry David appeared in a Super Bowl commercial. Sam Bankman-Fried appeared on magazine covers. He testified before Congress about crypto regulation. He donated hundreds of millions to political campaigns. He was on the cover of Fortune magazine with the headline, "The Next Warren Buffett." Sequoia Capital, one of the most respected venture funds in the world, invested and called him a world historical figure. FTX was valued at $32 billion, and it was all built on a lie. Here is what was actually happening behind the scenes at FTX. Sam Bankman-Fried had created a sister company called Alameda Research. FTX was the exchange where customers deposited their money. Alameda was his personal trading firm. The problem was that Sam was using customer money from FTX to fund Alameda's trades. Not his own money. Customer money. Money that millions of people deposited, believing it was safe in their accounts. Being used secretly to make risky bets on cryptocurrency markets. When the bets worked, Alameda kept the profits. When the bets failed, customer money disappeared. FTX had also created its own cryptocurrency called FTT, and much of Alameda's claimed assets were actually FTT tokens, which FTX controlled, which meant Alameda's balance sheet was largely made up of money that FTX had essentially printed itself. The entire structure was a house of cards held together by rising crypto prices and the world's willingness to believe in Sam Bankman-Fried. The collapse began with a tweet. In November 2022, the CEO of Binance, the world's largest crypto exchange, announced he was selling his FTT holdings. He had seen Alameda's balance sheet and didn't like what he saw. The market panicked. FTT crashed. Customers rushed to withdraw their money from FTX. $6 billion in withdrawal requests in 72 hours. FTX didn't have the money because the money was gone, spent on Alameda's failed trades. spent on luxury real estate in the Bahamas, spent on political donations, spent on sports sponsorships, spent on everything except being kept safe for customers. FTX froze withdrawals, then filed for bankruptcy. $8 billion in customer funds simply vanished. Sam Bankman-Fried resigned as CEO. He gave interviews from his penthouse saying he didn't know what had happened, that it was an accounting mistake, that he was sorry. A month later, he was arrested at his home in the Bahamas and extradited to the United States to face fraud charges. The trial of Sam Bankman-Fried was one of the most dramatic financial prosecutions in American history. Former colleagues testified against him. Caroline Ellison, the CEO of Alameda, and his former girlfriend, told the court that Sam had directed her to use customer funds for Alameda's trades, that he knew exactly what was happening, that it was not a mistake. The defense argued that Sam had made poor decisions, but not criminal ones, that the collapse was caused by market conditions, not fraud. The jury took 4 hours to convict him on all 7 counts of fraud and conspiracy. In March 2024, Sam Bankman-Fried was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The judge said his crimes were not the result of negligence. They were the result of choices, deliberate, calculated, and sustained over years. $8 billion, 25 years. Here is what the FTX collapse teaches us about money and trust in the modern financial world. The first lesson: if you cannot understand how something makes money, do not put your money in it. FTX promised extraordinary returns with no clear explanation of how. That is always a warning sign. The second lesson: celebrity endorsement is not due diligence. Tom Brady and Larry David did not analyze FTX's balance sheet. They were paid to appear in commercials. The fact that a famous person promotes something tells you nothing about whether it is safe. The third lesson: custodial risk is real. When you leave your assets on an exchange, you do not own them. The exchange does. And if the exchange fails, you are an unsecured creditor, not a protected depositor. The fourth lesson: charisma is not competence. Sam Bankman-Fried was extraordinarily charismatic. He convinced some of the smartest investors in the world. Intelligence and charm can mask fraud for years. The fifth lesson: if it seems too good to be true in finance, it always is. Always, without exception. $8 billion disappeared because millions of people trusted a story instead of asking questions. Subscribe to Financial Protocol. Real money, real mistakes, real lessons. New cases every week.